Okay, hey guys. So I'd like to introduce Joshua Conde for my first episode of Beyond the Muscle. He's a natural bodybuilder, a WNBF judge, and a contest prep coach, and he's also my coach. So yeah, we've done 5 shows together this year, and yeah, it's been a good year so far. And yeah, I wanted to discuss genetics today and how to maximize your genetic potential. I think you're going to have quite a unique take on this, being that you're a judge and a coach. You've seen various different physiques along the way, and yeah, I think you're going to have a unique take on the topic. But yeah, before we start, I've never asked you this before, but what got you started in bodybuilding?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, way back now. Yeah,
That is, yeah, too old for this now.
too old for this.
I mean, it was always for me. It was fat loss was the first thing for me. In regards to me being younger and everything, I was overweight and everything, and I just wanted to actually lose weight. That was the first goal.
Mm,
Then after doing that, then realizing that I don't actually look like the guys in the comic books. If I just
mm.
lose weight, you actually need to build muscle. Shock. So,
Yeah, sure,
yeah,
sure.
started getting into trying to get in the gym to train and all that, from your buying the different magazines, bodybuilding forums, not really knowing what bodybuilding was, but just being on there because it has stuff to do with training and everything.
Mm,
Again, like I said, I wanted to look like guys either in the magazine or in the comic books, like that kind of stuff. And then from there, finally stumbled across some people who walked, who like, came across my path who were bodybuilders. And I'm
mm,
like, oh, okay, what's that? And then obviously knowing Olympia bodybuilder first, then anything else. And then it wasn't until two people, one of them you,
mm,
actually a natural bodybuilder, where I was like, oh, there's actually natural bodybuilding. Interesting.
mm.
At this time, I was already more interested in the IFBB route because that's all I knew at the
Yeah.
time. And I was like, oh, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to think I'll probably do men's physique, but maybe that'll be for me, that kind of stuff. That's where it started. And yeah, we haven't been men's physique ever since. We've left
No.
that behind. And from there, it's grown to this now. Men's physique days was almost 10 years ago now, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
2014-ish, yeah.
That's it. So yeah, that's a brief background.
Okay.
You're not going all the way to now, but the early
Yeah,
days
yeah. That's how it started. Did you ever buy a Flex magazine back in the day?
was,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah, yeah. I don't know if they still sell that, but I used to be addicted to that. I just
Sean
love it.
Ray on the cover and stuff, Jay Cutlers and all that. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Those were the fun times. That's
Yeah, I think I was the same. Like after the kind of buying the Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding book, that was my kind of foray into bodybuilding was Flex, and yeah, I used to copy all of their meal plans and their training, and I kind of knew that I was never going to look like that, but yeah, yeah, it was still quite inspiring in its own way. In
yeah, because like
time.
obviously, yeah, same with me. I knew I wouldn't look like that, but
Mm.
because I didn't know anything else, it was like, oh well, at least I might maybe get 10% close to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
That's where I was thinking. I was like, maybe we can get close, somewhat close to that kind of thing.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm sure that's how anyone would think without knowledge. But then obviously, when starting to then work with some people who actually have knowledge and etc. And was real quickly was lucky to have someone like Neil Hill in my corner in my early days,
Mm.
stuff like that. So yeah, it really just helped me then understand a bit more about bodybuilding in general, not just natural bodybuilding. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the natural scene is yeah, it's getting big these days, which is great.
it is.
Um, but yeah, onto like genetics itself as a topic. Obviously an important topic. You only have to go to like one natural bodybuilding show and see one class to see like an amazing array of different physiques on stage. And yeah, things like, hip width, clavicle length, and that's without all the other things that are, yeah, you can't see like one's ability to gain muscle mass. It's yeah, a huge variety in terms of
Yeah,
it. I think it's important for like any competitor to know that going into the sport that genetics do matter. It's like a yeah, you're only going to look a certain way, and but at the same time, I think it can be used as a bit of a crutch as well. So yeah, what's your take on that in general? How much should someone who's never competed before be concerned with genetics, like going into their first show?
okay, very good question because obviously you've narrowed it down a bit more by saying, someone who's completely a first timer,
Mm,
never competed before. My answer to that one is a lot easier because I genuinely feel if you're a first timer, it's probably best you don't know much about
Mm,
genetics in regards to like first of all, not just for yourself, but for others. Because for yourself, I truly believe some people then, especially now with the era we're in now, with because of social media, internet, and everything, because everybody thinks they have access to everything.
mm,
If you then start like focusing too much on what my genetic, like my good, great genetic traits are, and what I should probably work on, and this and that, you probably miss the simple bread and butter about bodybuilding, which is just start by doing the simple
mm,
foundation first, and just build muscle. Like
yeah,
build muscle first for a good period of time, eat loads of food and train hard and have that foundation and then you can then actually see what that kind of looks like,
yeah,
maybe a little bit of a fat loss prep, that kind of thing. Because yeah, you hearing about possibly what genetics might be as a first timer, you will never know until when you've actually built like a lot of tissue,
mm,
that kind of thing. Because like for example, I think for myself, yes, chest was always obvious to some
mm,
people, but I didn't really know it because I
yeah,
was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
It's just that. But then it's only after like actually what, probably 3 or 4 years into it, I was like, okay, I get this now.
Mm,
And also being next to some other guys, I was like, all right, my chest is actually, yeah, it's actually up there with
yeah,
some of the top guys in the classes, even though I was still in last call out, but but then also that made me understand also why, yes, I could have just had a great chest, but it doesn't mean, it means I met the criteria or I was,
mm,
best on the day and that kind of stuff. But I don't think it would have made any difference if I'd known, I really understood my how big, how good my chest is,
yeah,
technically in bodybuilding terms,
yeah,
um, before I started bodybuilding. I don't think it would have made a difference because if anything, I probably would have then focused too much on other things, and maybe I
mm,
would have built the chest to be, where it is as well, that kind of thing. Because, so this is why I feel like, when it comes to first timers, newcomers, just do the basics first.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Do the hard training, do the eating, like actually to put on muscle, not
Mm,
trying to just stay lean or
yeah,
all
yeah,
around while trying to put on muscle because you're not really gonna put on much. In your early times, take advantage of it, the newbie phase, eat, train hard, that's it. And
mm,
then from there, you know, possibly working with a coach or whatever, get some fat loss phases done to and see what you really look like, and
yeah,
then you can then get some advice there in regards to how things are looking. And then
mm,
competing will then tell you more as well, and how you match up against other people as well.
mm. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I suppose, but yeah, on the other side, so I remember when I first competed, I remember it was back in 2015. I remember seeing a picture of Nathan Williams, obviously top pro, one of the world's best bodybuilders. I remember seeing his back and thinking, why doesn't my back look like that? It's like, yeah, why is, he's got the massive V-taper, super thickness. So I thought to myself, I just need to train harder. But the reality is, here I am 9 years later, my back still doesn't look like his. Yeah, I've gained some muscle, but yeah, we're just genetically, very different. But I think, yeah, it's important to be aware of that. But yeah, you're 100% right. It shouldn't be used as something to hold you back. I think going into it, you've got to, yeah, build that foundation and then see where it takes you. But I think, yeah, from my perspective, it's probably important to at least have, I don't know, 5 solid years of training under your belt before stepping on stage. Um,
100% agree on
yeah.
that. And not just even just of training. Like I said as well, like I truly believe, even though I still do take on people who completely new to dieting as well, and then they're trying to go in a competition, I just always let them know, look, it's most likely that you probably won't make the stage in your first year because you need to understand dieting is a skill as well. And
Mm.
so yeah, so I know we're going a little bit off topic there, but
No,
basically,
no,
yeah, not just the genetics of your training, but
the diet.
also
Yeah.
in general before competing, and that's the main difference.
Mm.
Bodybuilding and competing, they are still separate
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
bodybuilder without competing.
Mm.
That's what people understand, and I think a lot of people need to develop bodybuilding habits first,
Mm.
or then being a competitive bodybuilder. In that sense.
That's a
So.
good point. So would
Uh,
you recommend someone who's never competed, like do a dieting phase first and then see what you look like with maybe not competitive
yeah.
stage lean body fat, but decently lean, and then take it from there?
100% like my idea. Here's the ideal. I'll say if you could, here's the ideal here. You probably want to be. training at least 2 years.
Mm,
Um, and then if you're like, all right, I'm liking this bodybuilding thing, maybe get into it, and you're like, gonna get in touch with the coach. I'll probably
mm.
say you then have another 2 years with the coach
Okay.
even to even just then again be building and then understanding how the body works, how it responds, because you probably don't have, things like your intra post workout nutrition and all these little the intricate stuff here and there. You're probably not being accountable really with your sleep and everything else, all these little things that make the big differences as well when you're trying to
Yeah.
and so then going from there, and then after that, yeah, have some fat loss phases, have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
pre-prep or something just to see, okay, can I even do this?
Mm,
Because again, my people I know who don't make
mm,
it on stage and will never know what they will look like on stage just simply because they start dieting and they're
mm.
like, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just 2 weeks binge, 3 weeks binge.
Right.
You, it sounds crazy, but
Mm.
not everyone can do this.
It's hard. I can relate to that in my younger years. I used to be the same. It makes sense.
That's the way it is, and it's only when you start. I mean, I was doing a whole rant on this on my story, but it's when you get to a point where it's like, no, I really choose this over everything else.
Mm,
That you can then be like, okay, I'll do this, and that's why I think I always get a bit, it kind of irks me a bit when some people think there's some sort of like actual, like I don't know, like a technique or some trick or whatever when it comes to
mm,
preps to be able to like, oh, because it was easier or because I had
mm.
that, diet breaks and all that. No, those things are all tools, but
Yeah.
you still need a foundation of being able to follow a diet. Like
Mm,
that's it there. And that's macros or no macros. It
mm.
doesn't matter. You still got to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Well, because you and I both know you're still going to have world champions who follow a meal plan, don't know what
Mm,
their macros is, and world champions who follow macros. And,
mm.
it doesn't matter.
No, no.
Whatever, what's it called? What's the best way to put it? Whatever strategy you use,
Yeah.
main thing is, can you follow it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's going to be hard either way, I think, isn't it?
That's it. Either way, it's going to be hard, and that's the thing there. And I think that's the problem again with for a lot of newcomers. They see a lot of this. Oh, this must be easier. Oh,
Mm,
and this has been sold as easier. This has been sold as harder. This,
mm.
no, it's like no, it's all hard,
It's all hard. Yeah, yeah,
but can you hack it? That's it. That's
yeah,
literally.
yeah, yeah.
That's it there. So no, I think that's the idea. If you can get like yeah, those 4 or 5 years of training.
Mm,
I understand how your body is, that fat loss, just doing actual like a mini cut here and there just to actually see how that goes and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like, like, hey, dealing with hunger, like
Mm,
there's that,
yeah.
like,
That's a
or
skill
you
in
just
itself.
exactly, or you still at that stage where no, I just love eating and training. No problem with that. Keep
Mm,
doing that until when you're ready. So that
mm,
because at one point, then maybe the desire to be on stage will be more than just eating and training, and that's when
mm,
you're ready. That's it. That. So no, that'll be the first things there. But going back to the topic, with genetics, yeah, it's yes, we know it plays a huge part on the
mm.
stage.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to getting to the stage, like I said, for a first timer, probably you shouldn't, yeah, not too much of letting that play a big part
Mm,
before you get to the stage. And then even after that as well, again, it's like you said, you've been training your back for how many years now since you
mm.
stepped on stage
Yeah,
and
yeah. Many.
you've made your improvements, but it's
Mm,
still not to this level of the person you said, Nathan
yeah.
Williams, we know who has probably got one of the best backs in natural bodybuilding.
Mm,
That's because he's got his own genetic
yeah,
marker
yeah,
on that. That's it. Doug
yeah.
Miller, as much as Nathan Williams' back is, it's no Doug's.
Mm,
They're completely different. Which is better? We don't know. We've never seen them on stage.
yeah.
We're gonna be treated to having Babacar on the stage this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Pro. That some people might say that's the best back in natural bodybuilding.
Mm,
I argue actually maybe Nathan Williams might be him in the back,
yeah,
but we haven't seen it. But either
yeah.
way, both of them, you can't say there's any way you can train to be like those two.
No, no. It's just
Right. That's
yeah,
it.
no, no, that's the thing. It's but yeah, I suppose in my naivety at the time, I just thought to myself, it's just a case of working harder. But yeah,
Oh,
unfortunately, it's not the case. Bodybuilding is a harsh sport, isn't it? And that's the thing. But yeah,
yeah. And I think that's as a coach, because as a judge, it's you don't see it as being harsh because you
mm,
always lose judges in front of you. As a coach, it is very harsh to try and explain to someone.
mm,
because I see it in young coaches. I can
Mm,
tell because I've seen some people walk off stage and they're
mm,
there with a coach, and I'm just walking by and they're pulling me over, going, "Look at this. Do you really think you should have placed like that?" And I'm
right,
looking at the coach like, you are going to tell him, right?
right, right.
Because
Yeah, God.
it seems like you're kind of like feeding your client here that he probably should have been placing better, and he shouldn't have been in
Mm,
that lineup simply because there were some genetic freaks in that
mm,
lineup. And yeah, this crack on and this are you gonna go and go again, kind of thing, or are you gonna try and build some more for make sure that at your level, bring your
mm.
best so that
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. But that's for them to decide. But then either way, yeah, it is harsh to try and say
yeah,
that
it
to
is. I think
anyone.
that's one area where you really shine is that you're just like brutally honest with your clients, and you'll say, yeah, you know, you have this much potential, but you might not get to this level, and that's I think that's important to know just to keep clients grounded. But yeah, on that topic, so yeah, let's say that like, how much would genetics influence like how you coach someone? I know this is quite a specific question, but let's say someone doesn't have crazy shape, but they do have the ability to get like super shredded. Would that be something you lean into as a coach a bit more potentially?
So yeah, 100%. As a coach, when you get an athlete, you really are tailoring everything to make sure that you're maximizing the best of what they've got. And when it comes to genetics, again, like we just discussed there, there's just some things you're not gonna have.
Mm,
And there's some things that are just going to take longer to build as well. It's not that you're never going to have it, but
yeah,
it's just going to take longer. It's
yeah.
just not now kind of thing. And this is all the things that a coach should have to juggle in regards to, okay, realistically, what are we setting as our clear goals for what this person's physique has now and what they can potentially do for this season, or is it the next season, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. Like lay that all out. And then
Mm,
you really will be probably structuring things towards that. So like, for example, you gave the example of someone who is clearly, fat loss, no problem. They're locked in. They get it. In a weird way, they even enjoy it. They enjoy it
mm,
when it gets harder. That kind of stuff. So that we can get this person peeled. That's cool.
yeah.
However, is that going to be a good look on
Mm,
on their frame? Because like you said, they're not the best shape and structure.
mm,
Which is for me again. I go over this a lot. That is still king for me.
yeah.
Shape and structure is always still going to do very well on a bodybuilding stage over just.
Mm, yeah.
Um, However, the reason why conditioning can still win on the day is because shape and structure, but not enough
Hmm.
conditioning is not a good look either. So
Mm,
this is why, like I said, as a judge, you're just judging what you see on the stage.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what could be there. We're not judging that. We can only judge
Mm,
what's in front of us.
yeah.
Why, yes, you can see someone who the shape and structure is nowhere near close to this guy in second, but this guy
Hmm.
is second today because that's just way too soft. Like,
Mm,
can't allow that as this or that. But then also there's time. I feel like there's times where, because again with genetics, as a coach, you then also can be looking at the potential of a client where, like you just said, they can get crazy peeled and shredded, but maybe we don't want to be at that level to make sure that we have enough muscle to hang with this class,
mm.
that kind of thing.
It's
Because
like a
again,
balancing act, I guess.
exactly, drawing on experience. So again, let me put it this way. I got a first timer. They're doing a first timer show, and they are going to be in the teens, or the juniors kind of thing.
Mm.
I already know off the bottom back of my head, especially in the past 4 years that we've had, size actually matters in teens and juniors now.
Right, right, yeah.
There's some crazy freaks showing up, and
Yeah.
that's because if my guy is unfortunate, I'm just saying unfortunate, but if my guy is not one of the ones who has been training from 12 years old, which it
Mm.
feels
Yeah.
like I am now, because like I said again, I talked about this a lot. Chris Bumstead has really changed things for youngsters.
Right.
These guys getting to the gym earlier, they're doing a lot of stuff that me and you probably weren't doing until we're 25. They're
Mm.
at 15, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
If my guy is just 1 year, 2 years in,
Mm.
he really wants to do his first show. He's like, don't worry, I just want to dip my toe in there and then we'll come
Mm.
back as a junior, but I want to do it as a teen, early teen first, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I am not thinking about getting him completely peeled,
No,
especially
no.
if it's not going to be enough to hang with the mass of some of these kids because again, going back as a judge, I look at it as a judging point of view. Uh,
Mm.
if this person is soft, but the shape and structure is so much better and the size is there too,
Hmm.
just and it's hard enough, as in conditioning is just it's okay, it's like 70%,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then I bring in my client 100% peeled, but that's actually might work against him because of
Mm.
that superior, that kind of thing. And this is, and again, let's like tell people, I'm not because I'm not some kind of psychic and I can see the lineup or anything. Like we could show up and actually he's the biggest on the stage.
Yeah.
The win-win. They're there because I'm not going to say I'm not going to bring him 90% conditioned,
Mm.
that kind of thing. I'll probably bring him around 90, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing you play on there. But you always got to, the best thing to always do is always expect better. Right? I think
Mm.
that's the best thing. Expect better for the client to go up against people. So I always like give an example to say, like again some of the lineups I've seen before, like you said Nathan Williams, that kind of stuff
Yeah.
like an amateur Nathan Williams. I know what that looked like on stage. And like
Mm.
I'll literally think of sometimes some lineups of that, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of when I have an open heavyweight, I remember my lineup in 2022, and I know how crazy that was. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, how would he stack up in this?
Mm.
Would he need because we had Eric who's a pro now. He was an amateur then. The most ridiculous shape of any heavyweight I've seen,
Yeah.
because he shouldn't be a heavyweight with how short he is and his
Right.
structure
Right.
and everything. But he was a heavyweight. He literally was a middleweight with heavyweight muscle.
Yeah.
And but let's say he's in that lineup.
Mm.
How much I'm fair with that versus a very limby person like me. But yeah, I was
Mm.
conditioned enough. I had enough size, that kind of thing.
Mm.
How would it match up? So yeah, 100%. Yeah, I am going to be looking at really structuring a lot of things to try and bring that final look of, okay, are we going 100% peeled? Are we going 90?
Mm.
That kind of stuff against this kind of lineup, that kind of lineup. It's
Yeah.
all going to be played out in my head way before even we're like peak week or anything. I'm talking
Yeah.
starting the whole prep and everything like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's very individual based on each person and their structure. Because I
No
remember
one
when we
size fits all.
first spoke, your aim was to get me into my first show, like maybe 90, 95% there, with some room to then get leaner. And yeah, I think that that makes sense. That worked well in that case.
And again, it was like I told you, I just knew I had to, again, looking at the masters that had happened previously,
Mm,
even though I didn't have a masters client,
mm,
I told you already that I just knew that from what you had done in your off season, uh,
mm,
your shape and structure had really improved.
mm.
We know you can get conditioned.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
done that already.
That's the
But
easy part for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But you
Mm,
improved that shape and structure, and I remember that shape and structure, and I was like, yeah, I mean, compared to what I've been seeing, especially at qualifiers, I think
mm,
it'd be really silly if we try and hold your 100% condition from the first qualifier all the way to what
mm.
now happened to be October, which was
October,
not
yeah.
that was not the plan, but yeah, end of
Yeah,
October.
yeah.
That would have been hell. Who knows
Yeah.
what would happen in your finals? In that race, we probably
Yeah.
would have made it to Germany because who
No,
knows?
no, exactly.
When the placed.
Yeah.
That's that. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Because I just clearly just thought at best you would probably be second at your qualifier.
Mm.
Sorry, at worst, sorry.
At worst, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
At worst you'd be second. And it just so happened, he might watch this, but no, there's literally no offense or anything, but it just so happened that the same person who won
Mm.
last year's qualifier was at your qualifier.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually told you beforehand, I was like, let's say even he's there, I think your
Mm.
shape structure is better. It just so
Yeah.
happened that's what happened on the day because he was, I think, probably 95%, 90,
Yeah, he got a bit leaner. Yeah, and he improved his condition for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
But your shape and structure won on the day.
Mm.
You were not that level of lean, but it wasn't needed. And that's
Mm.
again genetics and in the sense of what you have basically there.
Mm.
Because yeah, we don't know he's a master, so he's probably been bodybuilding, who knows, 20 years, 30
Yeah,
years.
he Hannes is he's 46 and yeah, he's still doing well, doing strong.
Doing well,
He's,
doing great. But again, that's something that he would definitely know about his own shape and structure, like
mm.
how he will match up in certain lineups again, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah,
makes
no, it's
sense.
a big factor. And when I receive a new client, like, yeah, it is geared towards that in structuring everything to ensure that we can maximize what they have,
Yeah.
not what I hope they have, you know,
Yeah.
but so that, I'm not going to be saying, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, you're the next Nathan Williams,
Mm.
100%. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make you the next. How?
Yeah. Oh,
Unless
yeah.
I'm literally gonna be cooking up something that is not legal,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
some magic out of potions or something. Oh no. Yes, I believe in God, but I don't think He's gonna help me just create
Yeah,
mold
yeah.
people the way I
Yeah.
want to. So that literally
That's
would.
it. Not gonna happen. But yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What would you say to someone who has is really keen on competing for the first time, but know that they don't have the best like genetic base to do well in bodybuilding, or let's say they have just flat out bad genetics, but they really want to compete. What would you say to someone then?
That's really tough. I say really tough because you know me, I'm gonna tell them.
Mm.
But I'll say really tough because it will base it on how I'm gonna have to word it for them basically. Because like if this said person is clearly coming at me with a passion,
Mm.
they do want to listen, do want to learn. It's not just I just want to be on that stage. I want to be next Chris Bumstead. I know I know I can. So
Mm.
that's where it's gonna be tough because it's literally letting them know like, look you know, you may not have the best, but you just probably need more time to keep working on this. And it's up to you. Do you want to go on there at a level where you can definitely be able to be in like a good, you made a solid top eight kind of thing,
Mm.
or possibly even making the first call out, or are you just so keen you just want to get on there? You don't care if
Mm.
you're going to be possibly just did not place. We don't
Yeah.
know when you place that kind of thing, but you made it to the stage.
Mm.
And you have other life goals with it. It was part of your whole just body transformation goal and everything, that kind of stuff. So yeah. But vice versa, if it's someone who's just literally just absolutely shouting from the rooftop about how they're going to be the
Mm.
next best thing on this earth of bodybuilding, and like everyone should see him, and he's mouthing off in the gym and just constantly coming at me and saying, "Mate, when you're gonna prep me?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
"Come on, I'm your best client. This is that." No, I'm just telling them straight. Look, man,
yeah,
not gonna place.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you need this, you need this, you need this, you need. I'll tell them straight. That's the way it is, and leave it to them. Like it's up to you because I don't even think I can work with someone like that anyway. So.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. That would be tough.
But yeah, no, either way, I'll tell them they still have to know, no
Mm.
matter
Yeah.
what kind of person the person is. If they just don't have it at the moment,
Mm.
when I say don't have it at the moment, because like I said, there's still things you can, one up on someone else on the
Yeah,
stage,
yeah,
and it can just push you a little bit ahead.
yeah.
Because again, you can still, for example, if you have the widest waist on earth,
Mm.
okay, you might just need an extra 3 years on just building that shoulder,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shoulder and the
Get
width
those
and
laterals in. Mm. Oh, I think I've lost you there.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
prayer. First thing on leg. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. All good.
So yeah, laterals every leg session before every leg session,
Mm.
upper body session, everything, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's still stuff you can do, to
yeah,
try and make that not so obvious,
yeah, yeah.
and then the last thing as well that we've not even talked about, which I think plays a huge factor because sometimes this gets confused with genetics, is
Mm.
posing and presentation.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that as well, actually.
So yeah, I'll let
Yes.
you go to that then. So let me not get into that. Yeah.
No, no, no. That's a really interesting topic. So yeah, we'll talk about that now. So when it comes to posing, yeah, what can someone do to really get the most out of their physique when it comes to posing?
Oh yeah. Sorry, 2 seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, it is. Yeah, as it is now. What, -degrees now?
yeah, yeah. It's cold in there. Yeah.
Body is getting the challenge. Um.
But yeah,
So yeah.
let's say if someone they feel they lack width in the shoulders perhaps, or they have a wide waist. So putting the training part aside, what can they do posing wise to really maximize their physique?
First of all, please get a posing coach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the number one. Like especially if you don't even have a coach, and then you then trying to then do everything on by yourself. I
Mm,
get posing coach.
mm,
And not just I'm just gonna have the sessions, one or two here there with them. It's have the sessions, do the homework,
yeah.
practice it, do all that. Like that literally is now your other training of prep.
Mm,
Like take that on as that, that kind of thing.
yeah, it's huge.
Secondly, yeah, then you are literally, this is what the posing coach is supposed to be teaching you. And also, hopefully, your coach has some way of teaching you this, which is understanding we are trying to create a look now on
Mm,
stage. We're trying to hide your weaknesses because that's the beauty of bodybuilding as well. It's
Mm,
still you creating what you want on that stage.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to get all like artistic and all this, but yes, it's still a blank canvas
Mm.
because until when you get on that stage, we will never know what you present for bodybuilding.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And when you get on that stage, it's then still how you present it.
Mm,
And we've seen this before. People were standing in the gym, and just seeing them across the road there, whatever, or just seeing them on the street or whatever. You're like, oh, that guy would be good at bodybuilding. Like,
mm,
yeah, that. But could not pose to save their life,
mm.
and actually they made themselves look terrible.
Yeah.
So why can't the other way happen? Which
Mm.
we've seen as well, and not just seen. I again kind of bank on with my clients.
Yeah, yeah.
I've told you this. Like I look for every little inch I can when
Mm.
it comes to my clients because um, I think it would be silly of me to say that, especially in my coaching career, that I can expect to have like basically pro level physiques every day, like just
Yeah.
inspiring and should be working with me and this is that. I think the reason why that my team can do well is because I am looking for every little inch possible.
Mm.
And posing and presentation is one of those. They're not even just a little inch, it's a big factor. Come show
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Um, and yes, you can create a better shape and structure. I'm not saying magically like way better, but it can
Mm.
give an illusion of a
Mm.
bit better. Just off the top of my head, the amount of people I've seen people hit most musculars and have made them look small
Mm.
versus hit the most muscular and they looked huge.
Mm.
They weren't that huge in a front relaxed.
Yeah.
So that now trying to get them to teach them how to then look a bit better on that front relax so that not they're not so far behind,
Yeah.
because we all know muscularity around is second part.
Mm.
You might not even be in the first call out because you can't hit a front relax properly. So then let's really work on that front relax. Like what the heck can we do? Do we need to have the hips all the way back? Do we need to
Mm.
have you leaning so much more forward to give that illusion of you're bigger, that kind of thing. Do we need to hand placements? Is it actually better this way or that way to make the shoulders pop? That kind of stuff,
Yeah.
um, all these things, are you naturally just a bit of a hunch there? Do we need to like really get you to prop up a bit more? That kind of stuff,
Mm.
to give that illusion a bit better. Yeah, all these things are going to be crucial. And then again, even with clients who I would say some people would say are probably quite genetically gifted than most that I've worked with, I've had to work on things on them in the sense of just them understanding how important posing is again.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, um, again, because I see it as a judge does, first impressions, front relax,
Yeah.
quarter turns. People think that it's so boring and it's just not that important, and yet
Mm.
and they say that people go, no, no, we get it. It's the first impression, but I don't think people get it. I really
Yeah,
don't
they don't dedicate the
yeah.
amount of time
They,
required.
they still think their front double bicep is going to save
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and back doubles, and you could be actually way out the conversation. And this is why,
Mm.
again, some people probably till to this day are mouthing off about how they got done at this show and this is that
Mm.
and all this. They didn't get a look in. They didn't get the time. This is that. It was unfair. All that kind of stuff. But it's actually could be something as simple as you just posed your way out of it. And
Mm.
by the time we got to muscularity round, we couldn't get to see you. And then
Yeah.
like we've already made our top five. And
Mm.
your front double, as great as it is, we can't just now completely change the whole thing because you have a front double bicep. That's it
Yeah, yeah.
there. And also
Yeah.
the other thing as well is you might be in the call out where, yeah, you won that call out, but it's third call out. And
Mm.
we can't then be thinking, oh shoot, was I even better than the guy in second in
Yeah.
first call out? No, we're comparing you. You missed the first chance, and
Hmm.
you can't relax. So that's it there. So yeah, like literally, this is where it plays such a crucial part.
Yeah. Nail that front relaxed, basically. Get
And
that
everything
right.
else,
And
hopefully.
everything
I
else,
mean,
but yeah, yeah.
that will help. So that if you want to slam dunk, yeah, name it all, just that, nail it
Nail
all.
it all. Yeah, going back, we've talked a little bit about your genetics, like off camera here, but how have you managed to kind of maximize your, not that you've maximized it, I know you're still young, there's still some growing to do, but how have you managed to maximize your genetic potential?
Uh, It's a tough one because I actually don't think I have.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
honest,
yeah.
hey, I'm obviously I'm harsh. I'm my own worst critic. But I guess maybe with my 2021, 2022 season, I possibly have, yeah, done better at actually maximizing it. But I would say, from the experiences of the previous years,
Mm,
but to do that, because number one is, as you know yourself, because you try to talk me out of it, which was I'm not a men's physique athlete.
mm.
So that was number one. I was already not reaching my potential because I was in the wrong category. Anyway,
Mm.
I had a bodybuilding physique, but my heart was telling me I'm men's physique,
Men's
and
physique, yeah.
I let it override everything, even you, my coach at the time. And well done on you for just still working with me and just
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it's
getting
all
me in
good.
shape still and everything. But yeah, no,
Mm,
this is what I learned from. But then let's say looking at the more like simple, like obviously we're talking more training and then other things that's done. So training wise, yeah, just looking at okay with my physique. I know I'm 6 foot, but I also know I have this thing where I'm 6 foot, but I have a torso of someone who's way shorter. It's my limbs that make me longer.
mm.
I've been, whenever I go to chiropractors or physios and stuff like that, and if they do like a physique assessment, they're always amazed of like how where my waist is, how high
Right.
up it is
I
compared to where
see.
it should be, like apparently
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like I am all limbs, especially legs wise. I should probably be just like 5'9" if it wasn't for the way my legs are, 5'10"
Mm,
that kind of thing. So yeah, those kind of things and understanding how it affects my training is key as well. However, this is why I go back to the whole like if I started out and I knew all this stuff,
yeah.
honestly, I still don't think it would have made that much of a difference, apart from the simple fact that the mistakes I made at the beginning were just simply I wasn't training hard enough.
Right, right.
So unlike you, I just wasn't training hard enough. I was and that's why, yes, the chest was genetics because
Yeah.
it was barely doing much everywhere,
Yeah.
but the chest still grew because it was genetics for that there. But yeah, I mean, here's me, someone. There's a reason why I wanted to do men's physique mainly is because I wasn't training legs.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah.
So, this is that. And again, when me and you say working hard enough, I
Mm,
think we also understand we're talking about, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, we're not trying to be all cringe, but yeah, it's the hard stuff that
mm.
we all kind of don't want to do.
Yeah.
So that like the squatting, the some sort of hip hinge,
Mm,
some sort of actual dumbbell or barbell press. This is that there, not just flies all day and nice little
mm.
presses every day and everything like that. No, like the actual hard stuff that will really build the foundation, doing that week in, week out,
Yeah.
sunsets. In my early years, I did not want to do that because
No,
remember,
no.
my goal was just fat loss, so I just did not want to. I kid you not, I probably did 3 sets of legs a week. Uh,
It was that's more than me in my first few years. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm let's get form was very questionable too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that back squat was good grief. Like no, and no, there's a reason why the legs did not develop well. Yeah, and then obviously, like I said, there is the stuff I've learned later on, which
Mm,
how my limbs are and everything. So yes, I didn't know about foot placements and using this and stuff like that to actually make sure I'm getting good knee flexion and everything. But like I said, I was still shying away from the hard work anyway, so I don't think it would have made that much of a difference.
mm.
So yeah, like literally learning stuff like that
Yeah.
about my body, actually doing the hard stuff and doing it for longer.
Mm.
Um, so like for example, I remember you, especially when like you talking about my back, in regards to how that's been developing over the years.
Yeah.
I really do all that to a lot to actually prioritizing deadlifts.
Yeah, yeah.
That became a thing for me. People think I love it. I kind of really don't,
Right, right. Okay.
you
I'm very
because
good at deadlifting, but
yeah, well, it's a love hate.
yeah,
It's more, but I know I need to do it kind of thing.
yeah,
As kind of stuff as well because it's tough.
yeah, yeah.
I've spent 6 months not deadlifting this year because I can't. Thanks
Right.
to
Okay.
as well. It's caused the problems as well and everything. But yeah, but the development has been because of doing stuff like that, the hard stuff there, the foundations, your heavy rolls and everything.
Mm.
So yeah, understanding that I can maximize that because again, I do have the leverage for deadlifts, my arms,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So taking advantage of that. has been key. But then also understanding things like, okay, actually distribution of workload around certain body parts, more frequency,
Hmm.
then looking at the volume and recovery as well from things there. That is more of me understanding things as I've got over the years, with my
Mm.
not just my coaching knowledge, but my own training and
Yeah.
my own training age as well.
Mm.
Because I may be in my 30s, but actually proper training age probably still dates back to I would say 2020, sorry, not 2020, 2012,
Okay.
2013.
Yeah.
So not as much as my actual age would be,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
So yes, I have muscle maturity, but training age wise, someone my age, someone could have had almost double, what I've got, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So yeah, that being at that level as well has been a big factor. Um, and then posing and presentation, yeah, taking that seriously.
Mm.
From day one has always been key. So even in my men's physique days, I took it seriously. I
Yeah. You
always
did.
knew that,
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like it's something important. But I also enjoyed it as
Yeah.
well. I enjoy presenting. I didn't know this, but I kind of did actually. But yeah, I am a showman. Like I
Well,
can
yeah. Yeah. You knew that. You know.
I want to present. I want to show off. And
Yeah.
hey, it's my body on the stage. Why the heck will I not present
Mm.
my best there? But then now really going into the nuances of it, and especially now because I have clients who do it, so talking to posing coaches more and everything,
Mm.
how they interpret certain things. Because I just do stuff in my head. I don't know how to say it, but I didn't know it
Yeah.
was a thing. But yeah, like, oh, you twist it this way and that way, or you
Mm.
come around this way, that kind of thing. Like hips back in the front, in the front shots, that kind of stuff. Like I just did it normally, but I was like, oh, wait, okay, I get what that means now, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That is a huge factor as well because it then really helps again show pose things more because as good as my chest is, I don't have the width though, shoulder to shoulder, clavicle
Yeah.
as well. But I can pose better at doing that as
Mm.
well. Obviously, hoping that will not it'll be a lot more than that in the future because I have been working on building things
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be better there. But yeah, no, that's the long-winded answer basically. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say yes. I'm at that position where yeah, when we finally do get this next season. I,
Mm.
I might be able to say I've fully maximizing it now. My
Yeah.
potential.
So you're approaching that ceiling potentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing when yeah, the next Josh on stage. That'll be interesting.
We do not know yet,
We don't
but
know. Yeah, yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
when we do, don't
Yeah.
worry. I never hide these things. I don't know why people's like, it's surprised. Like even 2022, people are surprised. I'm like, I told you I was competing. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I see.
but yeah, either way, I will let people know. It's no, I won't
Hmm.
be this is that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I want to kind of maybe look at a few like key like take home points for someone when it comes to just assessing like genetics and bodybuilding and what it means generally. So key takeaways. Yeah, but one I think is quite a big one is actually certainly for first timers is to not focus on placings. I think it's and that's why it's so important to get photos done as well, of course, so you can compare to yourself rather than others. But and I know it's hard. Well, we're all competitive, but I think the idea of just saying, oh, I have to win, I have to win, and I've definitely been there before. I've been so laser focused on winning. But I think just focusing on after you've done your first show, then beating that package, I think that's important. Yeah, have you got anything to add to that?
No, no, I mean, it's pretty much along those lines.
Mm,
I think again, this a lot boils down to hopefully you will get a coach.
mm,
Uh, because I know there's still people out there who are like you don't need a coach. Some people actually do
mm,
that. I'm just being honest. If you're a complete first timer, you're going into the unknown, and like you're
mm.
just there. If you got this mentality of I need to win the show, I need to win everything. Like I'm gonna win. I'm going to win. Like and you've
Mm.
told your family and this is that. What are you actually basing that on?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't have a clue yourself. And this is where, like, I feel at least the coach, that's the key thing they will do for you. And I'm not talking about people in the gym who've told you. I don't care if this other bodybuilder has told you and everything like that. It takes a lot when you see a physique a lot and you've assessed it and you see how it's performing and you see how it's responding and everything. It gives you a lot of indicators. And unless that's what's happening with whoever you're getting advice from or you've got an opinion from, reality is you have not you have zero idea in
Mm.
regards to how you should be stacking up in shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, get a coach.
Get a coach. Yeah.
And then from there, yeah, they can really help you with expectations of things there. Because yes, genetics is a huge part, and like I just said, a good experienced coach can already tell you off the bat, like
Mm.
you're already here in this
Mm.
level. You're here right now.
Yeah.
Um, you're talking about you want to be here. So,
Mm.
there's two things we can do here. We can still do these shows, and you're going to see you're going to be around here. You might
Mm.
get lucky as well,
Yeah.
that in some placings or whatever. But realistically, you're on the cups of a first call out of of a
Yeah.
top qualifier. Or if he's good, or someone's good enough to be like, you're possibly a top six in the finals, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. But you're talking about you want to be winning British finals from day one.
Mm.
Then it's like, okay, look, I'm managing this as best as I can. Do you want to still do these shows and see how you stack up first? Get some pictures, see how the whole prep is gone and everything. See how you go with it. And then you then know what to aim for. Get so we know what to really improve on as well. You see from yourself, and also on top of that, because we're now, in that we've got had the full fat loss, we're in a good place to really build now to do a
Mm.
full off season and everything. Or are you willing to wait?
Yeah.
Do you really want to just have your ridiculous first season where you're already at this level? But that's
Mm.
because you knew a year ago or 2 years ago that you were here and you've done the work to get to that level to
Yeah.
put genetics to the max already, rather than just testing out now and then doing it later. I think that's
Yeah.
why being a coach is going to be key there because it really should help you. And I know it sounds like it's not a shortcut waiting 2 years, but
Mm.
to everybody who then sees you in that year when you're competing, they don't know about the 2 years.
Mm.
Judges don't know about that. So they're
No,
just going to
no.
think, wow, look at this person straight into it. First time and they're a pro already. This is that.
Yeah.
But they don't know about that. And that's why I keep telling people, like, I know in your head, in your time, it looks so long and it's like such a long timeline. There's always a stage.
Yeah, there's always a stage, yeah. I think
It
it's a
doesn't
real
matter.
balancing act, isn't it? Like knowing when to compete because
Exactly.
yeah, from my yeah, because I think it's tough because you can either think, oh, I'm not quite ready yet, and just keep putting it off year after year, and then you never end up competing, or you can go on too
Wait,
soon,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
people do that, I'm sure, or you can just compete too soon and just have a really terrible experience. Yeah, I actually competed quite late. I was 31 when I first stepped on stage. And I didn't get a coach. I just went into my first show, no coach, just basically followed people, guys like 3D MJ and Lane Norton, and just tried to absorb as much of that information as possible. So by the time I competed, I felt like I didn't need a coach, but
Yeah.
obviously the reality is it can really, really help. But yeah, I'd already had like probably 15 years of training under my belt, maybe 12 before I'd even compete for the first time. But yeah, I think trying to assess when to actually step on stage is yeah, can be quite tough sometimes. But when you
And
know, you kind of know, don't you?
and your story is a beautiful one as well, because again, you're a perfect example of that. Your first season,
Mm,
no coach, like self-coached. However, in a weird way, you kind of were being coached.
yeah, yeah.
Like you said yourself, like you had years of using 3MJ, Lane Norton.
Mm,
These are guys all top that I didn't even know who those guys were in my first.
mm,
This is why, like, as a first timer, it would be crazy for me to. And this is what a lot of these people are doing. They're being self-coached, and
mm.
they don't even have even half the knowledge you had going
Yeah,
like
yeah,
going
yeah,
into your first season. But yeah, first show
yeah,
overall,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
No, it was a good experience.
great experience. But again, it's because I'm pretty sure if you had worked with a coach, the coach would have told you, "Oh yeah,
Mm.
you
I
you got
remember, yeah, people were saying, yeah, you had potential and stuff,
this
but
is that." But that's because, like you just said, 12 years already of really
yeah,
training, but then also a good few years of probably matching that with some good knowledge, training and
yeah,
nutrition
yeah.
wise. This is what could happen,
Yeah, I was doing all the right stuff, but
Yeah. And
I
on
guess
top of
what was
that,
interesting, like
the
genetics, I never even thought about it back then. I just thought we're all kind of the same. I'm just going to work really hard. It wasn't even in my mind at all back then. I was 31. I wasn't exactly young, but so I guess in some ways, just not thinking about it at all can be a good thing because you just go in
why I
with
go
no
back to that first
expectations.
thing. Yeah. That's why I say
Yeah,
just do the basics first. Just
yeah, yeah. And I'd
know the
already done
basics
that.
first. And in regards to expectation wise, like I said, unless you already have like you were blessed in that opportunity to have the knowledge you had.
Mm,
If you don't have the knowledge, this is why I say recommend a coach
yeah,
because
yeah,
Unless you do have, you're lucky, you got that gym manager who, for some weird reason, is just really wanted to help you out, so giving you
Mm,
advice, that kind of stuff. Because I've heard, we've seen that as well.
yeah.
Um, that's I might be wrong, but that might be the story with David K and Guy. You
Oh, right,
know,
right, okay.
how it started with them. From the local kind of thing there, and yeah, just not everyone can have Guy as their as their mentor from day one. It's like literally imagine Hani Roundbot being your mentor from day one, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
Everyone can
yeah.
have that kind of stuff. But if you are, okay, great. This is
Mm,
that someone who's got some good knowledge and is going to guide you on the way and accidentally kind of be your main coach after from there, even though it wasn't really you're my coach, you're my client kind of thing. No, for most, they really probably do need a coach. And
yeah.
and the reason why I say that as well is because of the way things are now. The
Mm,
expectations are ridiculous.
yeah. The standard is high.
Bodybuilding is growing. It's still very small in this percentage in this world. I'm not saying it's huge. I'm not saying it's a huge sport. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, it's taking over.
Yeah.
However, in the physique, fitness kind of realm of things, it is blowing up. And
Yeah.
a good example of that is not just Chris Bumstead. You got your Gymshark. You got
Mm,
all these brands now, where a lot of them, even all their athletes, if you follow the athlete who's got 2 million followers, this is that and
mm,
everything, what are they doing now? Most of them, they go and do a bodybuilding show. They're
mm,
aiming to get a pro card. They're aiming to
yeah.
do this, that. A lot of their physiques are bodybuilding physiques. I
Yeah.
know they're trying to broaden it, a lot of these brands and everything, like they got this kind of a skateboard or whatever, this is that. Either way, a lot of people are going to be trying to they resonate with the bodybuilding physique. They're like, I
Mm,
want that.
yeah. Yeah.
And also with the female side of things, wellness now and everything. It's not just
Mm,
bikini anymore. I'm getting people from day one inquiring about, I want to be a wellness um, competitor. I'm just like, have you
mm.
even tried the glutes like
Right,
ever
right. Yeah.
correctly? Like I will say, even enjoy this is that, but that's how much things are changing now in the realm of fitness, physique, modeling kind of thing, kind of thing right now. The whole space there,
Yeah.
getting bigger, and because of that, expectations are just somehow like nobody's just blindly going into it anymore. Going, well, I have no idea, but I just want to see how I stack up. And
Yeah.
even if they come last, they're not crying about it because it was like, I just wanted to
Mm,
see. Did that.
mm,
I now know what I need to do, or I know this is not for me, or it is for me. But then, like you said, the worst is when I see the people with the ridiculously high expectations,
mm,
and I can see it in their faces as I'm judging them.
mm-hmm,
And, I'm not surprised when I might be hearing on social media later on or whatever about how this person is never coming to the sport again, and they're bad
mm,
mouthing it, and they're talking about how dieting is such a bad thing.
mm-hmm,
Bodybuilding it gives you bad habits. It's a disease.
mm,
Like, people go
yeah.
to the point where like it's a disease, and I'm like, come on, like
Yeah.
none of this would happen if you came first.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Or none of this would happen if someone had already told you, no,
Yeah.
realistically, where you're at. This is
Mm. Yeah, I
but yeah,
think you're right. People place a bit too much emphasis on the placings. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So in terms of like take home points, I'd say yeah, definitely think about getting a coach. Obviously do some research yourself when it comes to getting the basics done beforehand. Yeah, get photos, manage expectations for sure. And yeah, like you said before, like really important, like really try to yeah, practice the posing, make sure you've got those nailed to hide the weaknesses, bring out the strengths, get a posing coach. So yeah, these are all good points here.
that's all your preparation as well, because yeah, you just touch on it there. If you're not going to get a coach, then yeah, all the work's on you then. Like
Mm,
go
yeah,
out doing that work. And again, you're a perfect example of it. Your first season, you didn't have a coach, but you did the work of doing research,
yeah.
that because I know what you're talking about. You signed up to all the you're probably on 3DMJ vaults and everything, like
Mm,
that, and all the forums and all this. That takes effort,
yeah, yeah.
that takes money as well. So
Mm,
they're not paid for a coach, but you pretty much were paying with your subscriptions here and there, and
mm,
that, and listening here, and then your time as well. You're
yeah,
paying a
yeah.
lot of time to listen to podcasts, to read stuff. I
Mm.
don't think podcasts was that much back then, anyways. It was probably you're probably doing more reading, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was mostly articles and yeah,
Podcasts and
YouTube.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are so spoiled now. You can just listen
Yeah.
to great, like so many gems coming from
Oh, there's
podcasts,
amazing
whatever
information out
now,
there.
sound bites, little reels, 1 minute, and everything.
Mm,
Whereas before, yeah, we had to read it all, like literally. Like I remember me trying to study macros. be in my office because I was still working at the time in a corporate office, and I'm literally calculating. There was no my fitness pal. I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to calculate on a pad, pen and pad.
You're
Okay, four
showing your
times.
age now, but yeah.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, but do the work. If you're not gonna be if you're gonna be self-coached, at least do the work in
Mm,
and the research done, doing looking at everything, looking at all the theories and everything, and be ready to be again. Because you're gonna be the test dummy, so
yeah, yeah,
ready to go through all of that in regards to okay, is this working? Is that working? Don't again be all expecting a fast track in
yeah.
success
There is no
when you
fast track.
really are just throwing darts at the board here. So you just got to figure it out.
Mm, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah, I think that wraps things up. Yeah, really nicely. So, yeah, thank you, Josh. This has been really cool speaking to you,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I think we'll sign off there. I don't actually know how to sign off because yeah, this is my first podcast, but I'll leave like links in this. I'll put this on YouTube. I'll do all the required stuff, but yeah, thank you, Josh. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll speak to you soon.